So the 2023 remake of Peter Pan was just released, Peter Pan and Wendy, and the reviews have just come in. And to no one's surprise, they are shit. But why are they shit? Well, that's what I'm going to be breaking down today. So let's get into Peter Pan and Wendy and how they ruined a beloved story and characters. It's starting to become a trend on questioning Disney and their movie decisions, as there's been a big lack of original ideas and more of remakes of old classic movies. It's definitely clear that all of these remakes haven't been anything stellar, but nothing too offensive. Obviously, until this movie came out. Because the people behind this film somehow took the original movie that they deemed offensive and somehow made it more offensive by trying to make the original movie less offensive. Does that make sense? And like I said, the only noteworthy reason on why this movie is so offensive and is doing terribly review-wise is because it has an obvious lack of any inspiration of the original source material. With the exception of the name of the movie and the characters, this movie is everything the original movie was, but on opposite day. And the best way I can explain it is based off the characters themselves. In the original movie, Wendy is someone who cares for other people. She will put others first, especially if those others were her brothers, Michael and John. But in this new movie, at just the very beginning, Wendy joins her brothers to play fake sword fighting, but in the midst of all of that intense action, Wendy accidentally breaks the mirror. And when they're all being confronted by their father, she blames her brothers in a heartbeat.
Father, it wasn't my fault. It was their silly little game.
Enough.
And they started it. It wasn't
Enough.
me.
And she takes it even further after her brother asks why she would do that. And this was her response.
Why did you say that? Why did you say it was our fault?
You're a pirate, aren't you? It's every man for himself.
This is obviously not the Wendy I remember from the original film, as she was someone who would take accountability and always put her brothers first. Even when Peter Pan came to recruit Wendy to come to Neverland, Wendy stops him so she can bring her brothers.
Neverland? Peter's taking us.
Us?
Oh, of course. I couldn't go without Michael and John.
And it also doesn't help that the writers wrote her character like she's a modern-day feminist. Now, there is nothing wrong with that, but unfortunately the writers forgot that this movie is based in the 1900s. Are you fucking stupid? And that case is proven a lot throughout the movie, especially with some questionable lines that Wendy says.
You have the boy's magic.
No, this magic belongs to no boy.
Tinkerbell should have dropped her ass right then and there. I'm being dead serious. Also, Wendy just puts herself in charge without any reason. She also gains those powers for no reason as well. She didn't do anything to earn it. She just kind of been there. Like in the original movie, she's in charge at times because of the Lost Boys and how they look at her as a motherly figure. But because of some changes that I'm going to talk about soon, they don't see her that way, so she can't organically become a leader. Honestly, I can go on forever about how Wendy's character was just seemingly ruined by other characters to get through, so I'll just leave it at this. I personally think that Wendy was more of a badass character in the original than in this movie. Because in the original movie, she had flaws, but she learned from them and she grew. While in this movie, she just kind of stayed on the same level the entire time, which does not make for an interesting character. There's nothing wrong with making Wendy a strong female character, but guess what? She already was. She was a beloved character who was kind, considerate, appreciative, and she learned from her mistakes. That just is not the case in this movie, and that's what brings her character down a lot. I fucking hate this version of Peter Pan. In this movie, it is very apparent that Peter is the bad guy. There's no hiding it. This dude's a fucking asshole to everyone. It is also very apparent that this version of Peter Pan is oddly weak. Like for instance, Peter gets destroyed in like basically every fight he's in. And because he gets beat so much in this movie, you would expect for him to have a heroic moment, but he never does. And there's so many moments where Peter could have been the hero, like when Wendy was walking off the plank. But unfortunately, the writers just thought to themselves, well, he can't be the one that saves Wendy because this movie hates men for some reason. And we can't have Wendy being saved by a man because then that will make her look weak. And that won't make her look like a powerful woman. Even though in my opinion, seeing Wendy and Peter rise after she jumped off the plank would be a whole lot better scene than this shit.
No, this magic belongs to no boy.
But yeah, compared to all his other counterparts, this Peter Pan is as strong as SpongeBob trying to lift stuffed animals. Peter is just an asshole throughout this entire movie and fails to learn anything as well. The stuffed bear had more character development than Pan did. So yeah, watering down Peter Pan so others can look better and stronger is just lazy writing in my opinion. And also, why is he such a fucking asshole? Like after Wendy saves him, look at his face. This dude does not look appreciative at all. He does not give a shit. The Lost Boys are so useless in this movie. Honestly, they don't do much for this movie at all, and they also don't seem to have any character development either. But there is a good reason for why that's the case. The whole purpose of the Lost Boys in the main story was to have Wendy be a motherly figure to them, to help them show more parts about the world that they don't know, and to help them show how important women are. Because unfortunately, these boys don't have any motherly figures in their lives. But when you add women in the Lost Boys, the entire purpose of the Lost Boys is taken away. Now you can argue that they added women because women also need other women in their lives, which you would be correct. Yes, everyone deserves to have a motherly figure, but there's actually another reason why it's only boys. It's not like a club where it's just exclusively boys and girls are not allowed. Ew, cuties! No, get away from me. Boys only club, come on. But the reasoning being, in the original Peter Pan book, it is mentioned that there's no inclusion of women in the Lost Boys is because women are too smart to get lost. Which, really makes it clear that these writers didn't read the fucking book. And all they care about is representation. Like, no, seriously, it's like makes it very apparent. The whole point of the Lost Boys was to show the importance of women in men and boys' lives. It shows the importance of women in people's lives in general. Because they don't have a motherly figure, so we see them grow. But when you add women to their group, that defeats the whole purpose. It really does. The whole purpose of the story of Peter Pan is to show the importance of women. It is already a women empowerment movie, and it's a good one. So this just takes that original idea and makes it shittier. I don't know how. I am not saying that it's a bad thing that they're representing women in this movie. Not at all. Because there should be more of that. But just make an original movie then. Make an original Disney movie that has that kind of plot. Don't take something beloved, an already women empowerment movie, and somehow make it worse. I went off script there, so I'm sorry. But like, I'll get to that kind of stuff later, but I have more characters. So this was the only time I agreed with the change of a character's story or personality, as the original movie did some questionable things with Tiger Lily and her tribe. And since the writers wanted to make this movie not offensive, an obvious change was going to be made. So you might be wondering yourself, what do they do? How do they use this awesome and badass character to enhance this movie? They make her fucking useless. No, seriously, could have removed her from the movie and it would have made no difference. The only thing she did was get Peter Pan to the ship, and that's really it. I have a suspicious feeling that Tiger Lily is only in this movie for representation, as she's presented as this perfect person who has no flaws, but is somehow seemingly useless in this movie. She really has no push to do anything for anyone. She doesn't learn anything. She doesn't have any character development. She barely has any lines at that. All she does is get Peter Pan to the ship and just like knock a couple guys out. And it's really disappointing that she didn't really get used, because I actually liked Tiger Lily in the original movie. I thought she was a great character. But this movie just isn't allowed to have anything nice. So Captain Hook was definitely my favorite character in this movie, and actually the only character I enjoyed, and actually the character I was rooting for to win. Did I read that right? Oh my god, I fucking read it right. You can't do that with a villain. Yes, you can make a villain likable and you can make the audience feel sympathy for the villain, but I shouldn't root just for the villain to win. Unless it's like the Joker, but even that's a stretch. Because you feel so bad for him because he really didn't do anything wrong. Peter Pan banished him because he was missing his mother. Granted, I don't like the fact that he's letting his emotions be the reason why he wants to, kill Peter Pan, because that's not Captain Hook at all. But it's honestly the least of my problems with this character, because there's definitely more. Because it is sometimes hard to root for Hook when he's a soulless character. All of Hook's notable personality is stripped away. He has no humor, he is not scary or threatening, he just seems like some dude who would take an old lady's purse. Kudos to Jude Law for trying his best, honestly. Despite many people having a problem with the race swap of Tinkerbell, I really didn't. I was honestly more pissed that she didn't seem like she had her glow or blonde hair. Like, she could have been Asian, Egyptian, Indian, Wookiee, Ewok, I wouldn't care, but I would be pissed if she didn't have her glow and blonde hair. I don't know why that would piss me off, maybe because it's like a trademark of hers, and everyone else in this movie got their trademark of theirs. I don't know. My favorite character just flushed down the drain in this movie for like 2 minutes. And look how horrible the CGI is. Look what they've done to my boy. So David Lowery and the writers thought it would be a good idea to take a story about the importance of women, keep that same idea, but making modernized feminism include other representations, whether that be race or superiority. I'm confusing myself. What the fuck? Also, I mispronounced that word so bad. Superior. Oh my god, I need to go back to 3rd grade. Holy shit. It is also very apparent that this movie is blatantly shitting on men. As you can see for the entire movie that Peter, Hook, and even some of the Lost Boys have struggles and have obvious flaws. Hell, Peter Pan basically loses every fight he's in despite being a skilled fighter, while the women in this movie are perceived as perfect and have no flaws, as Wendy, a fucking child and a non-skilled fighter, somehow takes out 3 guys with 1 rope swing and is seemingly good at everything she does without fail. Now, there's nothing wrong with that type of representation in this movie, but when you take an already beloved movie and characters and do a fucking 180 on them and shit on the original source material to make your brand look better, it's a pretty shitty thing to do. If Disney wants to show proper representation, then go and make original movies. There's only 1 black princess. There's only 1 Asian princess. Is Mulan a princess? Fuck it. Yeah, she is. In my book, she is. Disney has so many options, but instead they keep remaking classics and turning them into something less desirable. This movie honestly has me worried for the upcoming Little Mermaid, and I really want to enjoy that movie. But I wouldn't be surprised if less people will go see that movie because of this shit.
No, this magic belongs to no boy.
They made a depressing movie that tried to focus on too much diversity and not enough time on the characters and story. I can appreciate that they were trying to show more women empowerment and black empowerment and all this other different diversity, but unfortunately you also added in this movie why men suck, and that's just not a good look. And we shouldn't let some uninspired Disney movie show us how we should represent each other, because it was fucking pathetic on how it was showcased in this movie. So that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, click like, subscribe. If I'm missing any points or if I said anything that offended you, please let me know in the comments. Be nice to others, be kind to others, and just have a beautiful day, okay? Can you do that for me? Thank you.